I'm the founder and CEO of DogBase. I'm a software engineer for about 15 plus years. I've done 2 previous startups. I'm ex-military. And I'm not a trainer. I'm a search and rescue dog handler. That's how I started DogBase, through doing search and rescue with my dog, who was also my service dog. I've done IGP competitive dog sports, and I actually spoke at a similar, I did a similar talk in Dubai at the World Police Conference. I did a workshop and a talk at the Fortex Conference, which is a European Border Patrol agency, and they're now getting dogs and thinking about how to use dogs in border control across Europe. We're the only police force in Europe that can basically travel in between countries with dogs and have jurisdiction. So it's a very similar talk to that. This one's a little bit longer. We won't do the whole 2 hours. I think it's a little too much. We'll do maybe 45 minutes, an hour talk. I'll demo what we're doing at DogBase, just see if you're interested. And then if you have questions, let me know. I kind of speak really fast sometimes, being American Israeli. So if you don't hear me or like, not sure what I'm saying, just stop. It's okay. I won't take it personally. Be very direct with me. And if you have questions, just ask questions. I'm happy to have a discussion about some of this stuff. I think it's important. So in general, what is AI? The shortest term, non-technical, is basically intelligent machines. We take these computers, machines, and we teach them. We take data, we label that data, and then we train that data, and then they learn from that data. And we have this everywhere, right? We have it in like, our AI assistant, like Siri, or the Android one, open, ChatGPT, voice assistants, or recommendations. So we see that every day in our everyday world to world, right? But there's a lot of hype. You go on the news, and all China comes to a new model, and they're talking about this. The hype is bullshit. Don't worry about the hype. It's not going to be relevant to anybody. These big companies, Google, Anthropic, OpenAI, they're going to find out to have the faster model, the smarter model. That's irrelevant for the K-9 handler, the K-9 team. That's irrelevant for me, for the everyday person. Has no effect on us, doesn't really matter. Let them deal with it. They will deal with the pricing and cost. What matters for us, for handlers, trainers, K-9 teams, is going to be context. So the future of AI is going to be context. How do I remember what's going on, what I'm doing? So if I'm running a kennel, or if I'm a trainer, or any of the everyday life, it's important for AI to remember the history and what I'm asking it over time. So right now, it doesn't remember conversation over time. It has a very short memory span. It doesn't maintain knowledge. So context is going to be the biggest issue, right? How do we get context out of AI? What we call it like benefits of context, right? You get nuanced understanding over time. So you'll have a conversation with a person, a friend, a family member, a brother, a sister. They know the history, right? They know what's going on. They have that historical data of that relationship, right? AI doesn't have that. So how do we build that? And then how do we do complex problem solving? So you can't do complex problem solving if you don't have that nuance of that historical data. So context is going to be a key factor in AI. And that's what we think when we say about AI. How do we affect AI? That's the important part. And then the power of AI integration. So once we have context, it's going to be about integration. Not about speed, not about my models or how smart it is or whatever this person is doing. It's how do I integrate it to my everyday workflow? It doesn't get in the way, but helps me save time, helps me improve. How does it reduce friction for me? Whether I'm a police officer, whether I'm a military handler, whether I'm just an everyday person or whether I'm a salesperson at a company, right? That's going to be the most important thing. So when we think of AI and the future of AI, it's going to be context and integration, right? How do we access to acting and understanding of the system? So closing the gap between these things right now. So the current AI is isolated, right? There's no integration. Right? If I want to do a summary or something, I can take it. I can take my paragraph, I can take my story, and I can throw it into ChatGPT, and I can ask you some questions. Okay, but it's not integrated into my workflow. It's not integrated into my system. So the true integration is going to be real-time synchronization, security, standardized APIs, and natural UI. Right. So should I be able to be whatever I'm working on, not get in the way, and give me information that I need. So how does this affect K-9 teams? Like, where is this going to be the future of K-9 teams? Where is it going to matter? Right, so if I have context and integration, the future of everything is going to be identifying blind spots. How do I identify blind spots in my training? So, K-9 training, whether method you're using, whether it's Neofoam or you have your own methods or your own training styles, We always start with little tasks, repetitive tasks. We increase the complexity of that task based on how the dog is doing, and then we move forward, right? But how do we identify blind spots in that training tank, whatever I'm doing? How do we monitor long-term patterns within my dog, my handler? The dog could be fine, maybe the handler has issues. How do we identify those patterns? How do we make data-driven decisions, right? So in the Israeli military, the K-9 words is a very popular term from the trainers. The way it would translate to is called trainer's blind, right? So I have an amazing dog. Dog is like state-of-the-art, great, does everything perfect, handler is great. And we're going out and training. This happens in IGP sports, right? If you look at the IGP world competitions, all of a sudden you have a dog that just breaks down, right? 3 years of work, and all of a sudden the competition breaks down. This happens in the military, in the Israeli military too, right? So they have this dog, they go out in the field and do a training, the dog just doesn't want to do it. This is one of the best dogs we have, what's going on? So the trainer will say, oh, it's too hot today, or it's a bad mood, or something's happening, or it's too early, or he'll give excuses, right? He'll say, it's having a bad day. But it's fine, it happens once, okay, twice, the military's already a problem, 3 or 4 times, it's a big deal. How do we know what's going on? How do we make data-driven decisions around that? How do we predict that? That's where AI can have the biggest effect. It's not going to tell you how to train. It's not going to build your training methods for you. That's your job. But it's going to tell you patterns and recognition. So a few things that we look at pillars of like AI and operations, right? The whole team K-9 unit. Pattern recognition, personalization for training. So we have the pattern recognition. We can adjust our training program, right? We can say, okay, we're seeing some issues here. I'll give you another example of the kind of pattern recognition we want to look at. Something that we're looking at DogBase and doing, right? If I'm doing protection work, bite work, I'm in a full sleeve, a full suit, or I'm in a heavy suit, whatever you can call them, and my dog has a tendency to bite on the right arm, right? We want to identify and tell you, hey, your dog is biting on the right arm too much. He's not biting the leg, he's not biting the left arm. You should probably start working on that, right? That is pattern recognition. That's going to help you and personalize your training plan. How do you do that, and how the method's going to be up to you? Performance, again, predictive analysis, and then health data, right? So the biggest impact that dogs can have is health data, right? How do we make sure we're getting the best outcomes? Our dogs are going to be more long-term effective. We're not going to injure them over time. We're not overworking them. And it could be a simple thing, right? It could be like you train your dog maybe 10, 15 times a week, depending on what you're doing. Every unit is different. But how do you know you're not overtraining and overheat over time, over a 6-month period? How do you know you're not overtraining and too much humidity over a 6-month period? This is where I can give you the predictive analysis and tell you, you're training too much over time for a German Shepherd, for a Belgian, in this weather, way too much time. Again, so K-9 teams, how do we do training adjustments really quickly? Data-driven feedback is what we're looking at. Performance tracking, right? Getting reporting, right? So with AI, natural language, we can do proper reporting, see what's going on. We can do AI-driven scoring and feedback. We can decide on scoring and feedback systems. What do we consider a dog and how do we compare it to other people? So a scoring and feedback system would be basically, we're all like training within our environment, right? Our network. We don't really see what other people are doing, right? And sometimes we don't want people to see how we train, which is fine, but we have no idea how we compare to other people. A scoring or a feedback system will let us know if you're training, these are the outcomes you're getting, these are the results you're getting. Where do I compare in the percentile of everyone else? So you can compare the feedback, you can see what's going on. And you can decide if it's good for you or not. That's your decision to make. Again, insights and adjustments. Those are in the same area of training. We look at the health monitoring. So detect early signs of stress and injury. Stress is the biggest one. We don't want to break the dog. We don't want to have bad outcomes. Monitor performance and fatigue levels. So this is again going back to that heat. Am I overworking in the heat? Am I working in the cold? Am I working in different terrains? If I'm working too many times in 100-degree weather in Nevada over time, maybe the dog can handle it, but maybe not. How do I know that over historical data, over open data, vet data? And then actionable health alerts. This will be something that will tell you ahead of time, hey, you might want to slow down based on our history of German Shepherds and the open vet data that we have. You say, hey, this is too much. These are AI areas in AI that's going to change how everyone trains. For operations, look at the level, the next level, from beyond the handling of the training. We look at big K-9 teams in operations. How do we look at that? So they want to forecast things. They want to see what's going on with the dogs. They're going to have to lose a dog retention. Identifying weak spots, right? A weak spot, I think, in K-9 training could be you're only, for such a rescue, because this is where I train, that's what I know. So if you're only training in certain environments, right? So and which is fine, like if you're in Nevada and you're doing such rescue in Nevada and you have a certain area, that's great. But if you're, let's say, a disaster dog and you have outcalls in other states, but you've only trained in certain areas, are you going to do more work in mudslides? Are you going to do more work in other areas? Is that whether going to affect the dog? How do you know? And it could not, it could be totally fine, but how do you actually train for how you know? And you basically adapt to any scenarios. So generate scenarios from me. Give me scenarios of things that I might not think about I should train. So this is a training blind spot which I brought up earlier. So identify subtle gaps in training, which is where I can help you. If you're an individual trainer with one dog, you might be able to say, well, I know my dog really well, which is fine. But if you're working with multiple dogs, you always have a bigger benefit, right? Because you're not going to remember everything about every dog, especially if you're a big team. Performance, and let's see, adapt a base success pattern, right? So situational awareness, see what's going on. Data-backed recommendations, reduce human error, right? So these are all things where AI can kind of help us. Kind of talked about this a little bit before. Now we'll skip some of these slides. Relative impact, right? So we want to reduce admin work. We want to spend more time with our dogs, less time logging, less time trying to do reports or see what's going on. We want to basically understand what we're doing. Is it good? How do I improve my training outcomes? And then enhance operational support, right? Which is basically managing your team and seeing what's going on in real time. This is going to be the same thing for training, like avoid the instant feedback loop, understand your dog profile. Again, data-driven insights will be the same thing for that. Programming is going to be the same thing, operational efficiency, have the big picture insight, what's going on with my team. And then the vision, so the fully integrated K-9 system, the vision of a fully integrated K-9 system is going to be context. It's going to be seamless workflow integration, so from logging to tracking. It's going to empower handlers and trainers to get better outcomes, better results, more time with the dog, and a better understanding. So that's kind of the future of where AI is heading and how it's going to affect you, whether you have your own system or other systems coming to play the power, the partners are coming into the field. This is what we're working on DogBase. This is kind of what we believe in. We want to basically give you AI-enabled tools to make you a better trainer, handler, or K-9 team, better operations. We don't want to tell you how to train your dog. It's not our job. It's your job. We want to give you the tools to see what's going on. So we're actually in the field. People are using our product. Search rescue teams at the core, but we have some police officers. We have some other areas. A military unit. Great feedback. You guys can go down our website and see that. But the problem today, we look at the entire industry, look at what the problem is. So it's all pen and paper, Excel sheets. There's no compliance, there's no data insights, there's no AI, there's no predictive analysis. There's no communications tools that gives you your whole team. Whether you're a trainer or a handler. So the DogBase solution, we're basically a frictionless logging app, log, track, and improve. So we give you a digital solution to log all your trainings. And the reason that matters is basically, and I'll come to that. So log, track, and improve. And the reason that matters is we're digitalizing the training logs, and by digitalizing the training logs, you can properly leverage AI. You can properly leverage insights. You can do reporting. You can now see where things are headed. You can see it all on your laptop, on your mobile phone, on the go. And that's why it's important going from Excel to paper log to other solutions. And then that gives you all the improvements that we just talked about before. You can start with integrations into your workflows. You can start with contextual stuff into your workflows. So the philosophy, right? We want to create context. We want to analyze massive compulsory data. So if you're doing a lot of training, a lot of things, we want to analyze that and give you information on that. To see what's going on. We want to identify patterns. You might not identify that you might not see. No matter how good of a trainer you are, I guarantee there's things that you're going to miss. We want to give you predictions and information for you to make the right decision. So we're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to give you predictions saying you should decide what's good or not. Then you can tell us whether that or not. So K-9 training is basically optimal for this technology, right? So one of the areas where it's really optimal to get lots of feedback. So how do we do this currently today in the market right now what we have? So we have instant summarization of your body of work. So you summarize your current training, right? You give you a quick, hey, this is what's going on. So you can literally look up, and I'll do a live demo, show this to you guys. We give you 10 minutes strengths and weakness by analyzing digital training logs. We start identifying things where your dog might not know. And a lot of this stuff could be things that you already know, but we can give you that information to make sure it's concrete around data. We're going to save you time, right? If you're using Excel, pen, and paper. This is going to be much faster, much easier. It's going to be better. We're going to be able to evaluate performance, and then basically how much at the end will drive some success by proper applications of AI. So you're going to multiply your impact. That's what we want to empower you to do. Right? We want to multiply your impact, you should have better outcomes. So our current features, we have training summarization, we have recap. So at the beginning I talked about how you train your dog, right? You do repetitive tasks, you make it harder, right? So if you search and rescue for a live fine person, I show the puppy, and then I run 10 feet and drop, it just comes there, and then maybe I give him a reward, and I go 20 feet and 40 feet, and then when I want him to alert, I might hide the puppy roll until he barks and I throw it at him, right? So I'm doing it for repetitive training. Costs money, time. How do I make that faster without losing my level of expectations for my dog? How do I save time, get better progressive? So what we want to do is we want to go from repetitive training to progressive training. The training recap does that, right? It goes back and says, here's your five to 10 trainings that you just did with this dog. Click one button, I'll show this to you guys live. It generates a report, and you can read that on the go and say, oh, we should move forward now. Like you did really good the last few trainings. This progress was really faster than expected. Let's move forward. Now, if you're training one dog, you might not need that, but if you're training more than one dog, guaranteed it's not an impact. Because you're not going to remember 20, 30 trainings ago. And intelligent journaling. So we give you the entire history of the dog. So these are real examples of users using our current product. I'm not going to read all this stuff. This is basically a training recap, right? And I kind of want to focus on a couple areas I think are important. That's not it. Sorry. Okay. So he basically says that he's part of most of the recall training, no problems. He has solid field work, reliable information. We kind of give you information how much he trained, right? So he said 8 trainings. He did 8 trainings, 3 hours of training time, and here's exactly what's going on, right? So you can see, okay, good results, overall good, I can move forward. I can add immense complexity really quickly. This is our recap for search and rescue. And here we have a problem, right? In the training session, he didn't do his TRF, right? So train final response. He didn't bark, didn't do anything. That's a problem. So now he's basically, after doing his training, he's going to go back and work on that. Right? You know, okay, I did 5-6 trainings. I think I was progressing well, but I guess I wasn't overall. Overall, the TRF wasn't good, right? You know, it wasn't. It needs improvement. So I'm going to go back and do 1 or 2 trainings on that, and then try to see what happens. Training summary. Just a little bit of summarization really quickly to see what's going on. So if I have multiple dogs, I'm training, I can click this button to see how it's progressing. This is from Search and Rescue AirSense from Max as well. The intelligent journal. This was something we're really proud of. We got this idea from the military. Specifically the Israeli military. So we've done 20, 50 trainings, 100 trainings. We basically summarize all that for you. The dog's health, their history, their performance, their certification, whatever they've achieved. And then we basically give you each training one. You don't see it, you see it on the bottom. So each training will give you a summarization of how you progress. His overall result, his training types. So I did obedience, I did track work, I did search and rescue. You see that on one button. Export that to a PDF and I have his history. And talk to the dog. So we'll do a quick demo, and then questions. And I have videos if you guys want to see videos of dogs working in Israel in the war, but it's a little political, so I didn't put it in the slides. So this is the DogBase dashboard. This is our web app. We call it Teams web app. We have a mobile app too. This also works on your mobile phone. It's fully responsive, so you can put it on your mobile phone. At the core, you can see we have, it's a demo cast, search rescue team. We have some quick action buttons, and then we give you insights of everything that we're doing, right? So we give you a total training dogs, total users, everything on my account. We give you a live activity feed. Everything that you track, whether it's training, whether it's actions, you put an activity feed. You can put that on a big screen or monitor in the channel. You can see what's going on in real time. You have multiple trainers. The bottom part is internal messaging. We have teams, so you can break down your trainings into teams. Dogs can be multiple teams. Handlers can be multiple teams. A team is like a folder or like a label. It could be a team that's literally in a different location. It could be a team that's maybe doing certain types of training, or maybe a team that has some other things that are around the field. And then we give information about that team as well. And if you break down into the team, we have team insights around the team, right? So you can see what's going on with the team. You see our dogs, our trainings, and our activities addressed in this team. All right, so you can have a subcategory of this, that team. Now, our training is basically, we have a bunch of templates. So we have a bunch of templates for training, right? So article search, conservation, fitness, obedience, pipeline detection, switch and rescue. You can build your own training types coming in April. So you can decide what I want to build. So you can take one of these, you can duplicate it, edit it, or change it, or just build your own one. We're also releasing a bunch of alerts on detection, explosive detection, drug detection, concurrency. You can basically do that. Now each training is broken down to make it really easy. We want to say 4 to 7 minutes. You should be able to fill it out. So if I do, hopefully it won't crash right now. Let's say if I do switch and rescue roadbook disaster, right? It's all broken down to 3 steps. So we have an event type, your team, your dog, and then we have locations you can disable based on if it's a problem for around security. But I will select just a demo. Date and time. And this is the part that I kind of want to show you guys. Step 2, training data. This is all custom data. So this is what we build. You can build whatever you want. So this is user friendly, right? So we have drop downs, really easy and quickly. So you can really quickly say, okay, I need class building, and then I did an adult subject. I did 2 repetitions, and you can customize step 2, right? You can decide, okay, well we don't want to track all this stuff. We want to track this specific order type, this specific container, this specific amount. So it's all customizable for this area. This is just switch and rescue. And then step 3 is, again, it's just, and that's what on the bottom we have for the AI. We have objectives, observations, actions, detection, and goals. In April, you'll be able to basically just voice it. So instead of typing, you can just do a voice. You can click the mic, say, he was really good, and we'll automatically put that in there and generate the AI for you. This is one of the most important parts. It's going to tell you how you're progressing, right? You need to be pretty honest about it over time. And then I'll skip to, and this final step we have, you can upload files, videos to that specific training and have a history of all the logs. So if you're doing videos, if you're doing images, you can have that all here. And there are some questions here that we ask you to do this. So we use this to see how you're doing. So we run predictive analysis and behavioral analysis and see how well you're progressing. All right? This is one of the core kind of secret things that we do in the background. Once I have that, I basically I can start doing the intelligence journal. I can see exactly everything about my dog, so the history of the dog. I can see all the trainings that he's done, how he's progressing, right? So fitness training, pretty good. Search obedience, pretty good. I can see all the things around the dog, how he's progressing, the history of the dog. I can do my recaps and see how I'm progressing. This is the training stuff, and then of course we have all the other whistles and bells that you expect from a software solution, right? So we have the insights and analytics, we have the reports, and then in April you'll be able to do your own actions. So actions are basically a simpler version of training types, but for anything that you want to track. Right? Whether it's like taking a dog out for a walk, or feeding them food, or stuff like that. So this again, you can see basically I can see my users, or I can see myself or my dog, or I can see the entire history of my dog. I can export everything. So I get all the information about my dog. But I can export things to JPEGs, whatever I need. The history over time, how I'm progressing, my results over time for each search, for each training type that I'm doing. So I get real reports, real insights. I can start making decisions, start making analytical stuff. I can do comparisons between dogs. I can compare one another dog how they're training. I can compare individual handlers as well. I need to fix this. What else is there? Reports, export everything out really easily and quickly. And then each training, we go into the details and we provide you information on that training. So all the information on the training, we do the time of day, things that you don't need to fill out, we do it automatically for you, notes, the location, terrain data if you're training outside, weather data is automatically inputted for you. It's fully compliant, so you track the versions, the edits, and all that stuff, and you can export that. If you're doing protection work, this is going to help you report if you have any issues. That's the entire history, and then we have different users, you have user roles, pretty much everything you need. Are there any questions? Yeah.
You said that the weather is automatically pulled from where you are.
Yeah.
I work casino security, so I'm mostly indoors. Can I override that? Can I edit it and say, hey, this is the temperature of where I was?
Yeah, so that's one of the upgrades that we're adding on. We requested for you. You'll be able to override it, disable it, or say I was indoors and you might get a little different data.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions you guys have? No? Right. No questions? Let me see. Go back to the deck. A second. Alright. So this is a quote from my co-founder, Lincoln. I don't know where he got it from, it's pretty good. So teams, organizations, and nations that do the work to apply AI today will dominate the world tomorrow. So you'll be ahead of the curve, you're the one that moves forward, and you'll set an example on the standard for everyone else. So I think it's like in DogBase, we're obviously in the deck, we don't want to talk too much, but we're looking at using videos for health data. We're looking at providing contextual chatbots where you can say, hey, who's training in the field right now, how are they doing? Who trained 10 hours last week, or how many trainings did I do last week? And give that information in natural language to make it much quicker and easier. We're going to be releasing our recommendation engines. The recommendation engine will look at patterns and tell you this is what we're seeing. And we're going to be releasing our comparative analysis. So how are you compared to everyone else? It's all private data, so none of your data gets left out. We don't share your data. It's all just for you. Yeah, and then we have, because we are doing a bunch of upgrades right now, we're providing a promo code